Hello and welcome to another episode of the Autocar Professional Dialogue. We are in conversation with Rudi Von Meister, President AsiaPac of ZF, and we are here at the testing grounds of ZF, and where the company has showcased some of its latest and some futuristic technologies as well. And to tell us more about how ZF is going about it, and especially with the recent acquisition of TRW and how the integration will lead to major benefits for the industry as well. Rudi, first tell us this integration with between ZF and TRW. That is a big challenge right now, right?
Sure.
And how long will it take, do you think?
It's a challenge, but it's also a pleasure because it enables the company to expand its product portfolio in order to remain competitive and take a leadership role, actually, in the auto industry going forward over the next decades. Now, how long is it going to take? We acquired TRW 6 weeks ago, and we expect that during the course of the next 18 months, we will find ways to work together on a project basis on a number of different fronts that will help us not only draw closer to the needs of our customers and of the market, but also find ways to improve our performance in technology and improve our performance in cost. We have a lot to learn from them as they are cost leaders and have a substantial presence in various markets around the world where we have a lesser presence. At the same time, we have a very strong engineering portfolio, and together I expect over the course of the next 2 to 3 years, we will find a way in order to enable a much more seamless collaboration between these two great companies.
And as one of the results, one of the objectives, which you showed in one of the slides in your presentation, is to be number one. This acquisition has already catapulted ZF from the number 8 position to number 3. So now you're eyeing the top spot as well in certain segments of the industry as well?
Number one doesn't necessarily mean, having the biggest revenue. It means winning the hearts and minds of your customers and earning the respect of your competitors. And I think we're pretty close in a number of those areas. What we intend to do together with TRW is to create a broader and more comprehensive portfolio of chassis components offerings, both parts and systems that have the connectivity to enable us to develop integrated systems for the auto industry of tomorrow. The auto industry that becomes much more electronicized and much more data transfer oriented than what we have been accustomed to in our traditions.
And also, it would, if I'm not wrong, it will give you an opportunity to tap the bottom half of the market, because ZF has been traditionally strong in the upper half. So especially when it comes to markets like India and other emerging markets, that will be a big advantage, right?
We have to learn how to engineer our products more cost effectively. Our tradition has been dealing with more the premium side of the market, but we have a great deal to learn, not only from TRW, which has had great success supplying the higher volume economic products in the auto market. But at the same time, we have a great deal we can learn in India as well, where engineering for value and engineering for local requirements are key learnings that we need to be able to take advantage of.
Last year, there was a major achievement for ZF when Tata launched the Nano with the electric power steering. Now, that is not there anymore because you have divested that part of the business. What next?
That was my favorite example. ZF Steering Systems, our joint venture with Bosch, developed an electronic steering column solution for the Tata Nano that vastly improved the ride and handling of the vehicle. I drove it, I loved it, Many of my journalist friends also spoke very highly of.
And it enhanced the car's appeal to the
And it certainly enhanced the car's appeal. But for me, it was a great point of pride that ZF could contribute competitively a product
at that price
into
point.
that iconic vehicle. That iconic vehicle. Now, it's up to us to come up with an alternative solution now that Bosch has taken full ownership over that business.
And what impact will it have in the business, for example, the Rani TRW, where is the joint venture, and then on the other side, Brakes India? Are you looking at maybe kind of integrating them at some point?
Our task right now is first and foremost to let our businesses, ZF traditional businesses, TRW traditional businesses, continue to serve their customers without much distraction or disruption. And so it's important that they maintain their cadence and deliver their promise to their customers. However, we are working on a variety of different projects that will find our ways to better work together and to better address the market without disrupting the key relationships and the key commitments we have in place now.
And ZF independently, it has been in India for quite some time now, and maybe like some of the other tier 1 and even OEMs, plans have not really gone ahead as per projections because of various reasons. One, for example, Volkswagen's market performance has not been up to the projections. What is the strategy that you are taking now to kind of fast forward your growth plans?
We will continue to aggressively and enthusiastically support our key customers like VW. And they are destined for success because everywhere they go, they succeed. They learn, they adjust, they succeed. I have no question about that. At the same time, we also have an opportunity, and in my view, perhaps even an obligation, to work closely with the great indigenous automakers in India who have their own ideas and probably a very deep understanding of what the market requirements in India are, and how we go about addressing those requires that we have an engineering and product development presence in the market. So that's something we're pushing for.
And with the combined business turnover that you have with after the acquisition, has the contribution from the Asia-Pac region has also gone up with the combined between?
Oh yeah.
How much is it currently?
The contribution of the Asia-Pac region to ZF's global revenues is pretty significant, but we're expected to to increase it substantially over the course of the next 5 or 10 years. So the infrastructure, the developmental plans that we are putting into place now need to be able to bring us to a much stronger manufacturing base and local product development capability in order for us to succeed.
And today we saw one interesting example. You are trying to redefine the definition of an SUV.
Yeah.
So, and this is also, as it reflected, it's targeted at the mass market. So, would your team also pitch this kind of concept to Indian OEMs as well?
So what you're saying is that SUV does not stand for smart urban vehicle. Is that what you're suggesting?
No, that's the new definition that you're trying to.
Yes, the acronym may have other associations elsewhere, but in ZF, SUV stands for Smart Urban Vehicle, which is a solution that we and our teammates at TRW jointly developed just in the course of the last few weeks of our integration that combines technologies from both sides in order to create a small but very sophisticated urban transport solution that features some key autonomous driving features and aspects.
So can we expect that to be sold to Indian OEMs also? Has talks been initiated by?
I'm hoping that your program will carry some video clips in order to elicit interest on the part of the public as well as India's automakers, because we do look forward to talking to them about that.
You're a veteran in the industry, and you have more closely been in the Asian market and China specifically. What is your outlook of the Indian market in the midterm? Because there has been fragmented growth. It's not been a kind of a smooth growth. So what is your outlook for the midterm?
Well, I expect that with the new government and its very sensible and objective policies towards infrastructure and economic growth, that will fuel greater interest and greater affordability in vehicles in India. Not necessarily in the traditional sense of, gasoline powered, but with these new technologies emerging, hybrid, alternative fuels, and electric drive systems, and especially with weight reduction whilst not compromising safety, we will see solutions that probably weigh considerably less than even the subcompact cars of today without sacrificing the safety and security feature that's so important.
And I would like to ask you for your opinion from the perspective of Indian OEMs. Do you think there is a lesson for Indian OEMs or markets like India to learn from the Chinese automotive industry, which is really trying to rediscover itself? I was there recently in Chongqing, and I heard many even CEOs talking about kind of reinvent the whole industry and not be kind of build their own identity in terms of not only in the brand but in terms of the technical capabilities and be accepted. Come to a level where they are accepted outside of China as well. Do you think there's a lesson for CEOs of Indian companies as well?
Oh, definitely. I think we already see the impact of Indian business genius on the global economy. Not to mention American politics. We have two governors already of Indian descent and CEOs in some of our most famous corporations. So I expect this homegrown talent will find ways to make its mark in the global auto industry. We've already seen what Mr. Tata and his team have accomplished. We expect also on in terms of what Mahindra has done in India, it's time for them to find a way to step out into the global market. In my time at General Motors in China, starting in the mid-'80s, I saw the transformation of an economy that was basically stuck reworking decades-old technology, producing the same products year in and year out. And now China is cutting edge in so many ways in the auto industry, not only the world's largest market, but also a center of innovation, a center of product development that within the next few years will have a significant global presence. I expect to see the same in India. And I expect that there will be certain freedoms. I mean, you may think of the restrictions that Indian industry faces, but I also think there's a lot of freedom because the freedom to make decisions and to engage in market entry and implement technologies are more business decisions than political decisions. And I think that is very much to the advantage of the Indian industrial environment.
All right. Thank you. On that note, thank you very much, Rudi.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you once again, and always a pleasure talking to you.
God bless.
Thank you very much for watching.